Hey, Chief Graboys, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
All right. You don't have to lean in. You can be careful. Sit back.
Okay. Just want to make sure that the microphone's picking it up.
No, we these are pretty good. These are like top of the line podcasting. At least that's what the Google says.
Well, the chair makes me feel like we should be in a cigar bar.
Yeah, well, we're hoping to be a little bit comfortable. That's kind of the vibe we're going for.
Good.
Help people open up. But on that, now I've come to learn a lot about you. Just when it comes to the communications part, but tell me a little bit about how you got to be our chief. Like, what was the journey? And yeah, feels like a hard calling being an officer. Period. Much less the top cop at at any size city, much less a large size city. How did that journey go, and why?
Well, it's a long journey. I mean, I could probably take up 30 minutes just talking about it.
Okay, Cliff Notes this time, and then we'll have you back
Yeah.
in.
So, well, I mean, I started back in 1991. Okay, that's when I joined the Montgomery Police Department as a police officer trainee and started my law enforcement career. And of course, I served till 2011 when I retired. That 20-year career, that span, really saw a lot. I mean, that in itself, you saw the changing in policing going from when we were literally using paper and old-fashioned IBM typewriters to computers and computerized records and cameras and videos. I mean, it really was amazing. It was an amazing 20 years. And in the time that I did that first tour of duty, you could say, I fell in love with the city of Montgomery, and I fell in love with the police department. Now, the police department is a family. It's a huge family. And what that means is sometimes you have members you like and get along well with, and other times you have members, that are a little tougher. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, though, what really mattered and that level of feeling of family that mattered had to do with what was on your chest with your badge right here, which you can't see because of the microphone. Yeah, sorry about that, but I think it's important. I mean, it's right here because that's right over your heart, and what you wear on your shoulder. It's a bond that you have to each other, your brothers and your sisters, doing that matters because you're all out there trying to do a wonderful job serving citizens, making the world a better place. And as hard as that job is, that mission never goes away, and it really gives a person's life a lot of purpose. And I was really in my formative years when I started. So I did a 20-year career, and I loved it. I retired, at the end of that tour of duty. And then I actually ended up taking up law enforcement duties again later at Alabama State as the chief there eventually. And that was very rewarding because I got to do so much work, not only continuing in the center of Montgomery, because really ASU is located so centrally, but also with the police department and with the people that I cared about. Because my whole basis for doing this job is I care about people, or I care about the citizens, I care about the officers. And so basically serving that my second tour, I could say, at Alabama State, it allowed me to kind of continue with that same purpose. Working at ALEA also enabled me to do that. I mean, all I've wanted to do is to try to be the best person I could to make the world better. And the thing about it is, I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm saying that because the attitude that I have on that is something that I believe my officers have as well.
Yeah.
And so it's a pleasure to work with men and women who look at the world and say, things are bad at times, but what can we do to make it better? And so that's worthy. It's a worthy mission. It's not always easy. It doesn't make you happy all the time. But what it does do is it makes you look in the mirror and say that your life has purpose. So when the city of Montgomery decided to look for another police chief, and I was asked to assist, of course, I immediately said I would, because to me it was something that was important to me, because the police department's important to me, the city's important to me, the men and women of the agency are important to me. So that's why I said yes, I'll do it, and I've been pleased to do it, because as I've gotten to work with the men and women, many of them who were not there when I first was there. I mean, this tells you about my age. I started working as a police officer before a lot of the people who work in my agency were born.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is kind of funny, you know,
Yeah.
because I've been doing it now over 30 years. And when I got to start working with these men and women there and seeing the job they were doing and how much they cared, it was a pleasure, because they are so good. They are good, they are brave, and you know, they inspire me to want to do better as a police chief. So I guess in a nutshell, I'm sorry, I probably really went off on a long tangent.
It's
but,
good. One of the
that's why I'm
questions
there.
that comes to mind is a lot of times I think about people that they go into fields that are they're professional fields, but they're also there's a calling that goes along with it. And I guess the one thing I always kind of wonder is, for me, I love my job, but sometimes you wake up and it's just a job some
Right.
mornings, and you just go in, and I think you have to kind of purposely step back and make sure that you remember why you're doing what you're doing, remember the direction you're heading. But I also wonder if that's difficult some days. You know, if you're walking around and maybe you see some of your officers, you know, just I don't know if there's something that you see sometimes. If how do y'all? I guess what I'm asking is how do you kind of continue to remind yourself and remind your officers that, you know, that they had a purpose to begin with? Is that something that's, you know?
Oh, wow, yeah, that's a good question. I think you have to hold on to your purpose. Your purpose is everything, because you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and it's really difficult, because imagine this, okay? Police officers are only humans.
Yep.
And you might be at home having difficulties with your family, a loved one who's having medical emergencies, or a loved one who is now mad at you and your significant other are having an argument, and suddenly you have to go into work, and you might be dealing with somebody who's on their worst day.
Yeah.
I mean, that person that you now are let's say, going to see on a call, they might have had something so horrendous happen to them, it's their worst day in their lives, and you have to be able to switch gears and start looking out for that person and helping that person. It's a hard job, and having to do things like that on a very consistent basis make it, you know, sometimes a slog, make it sometimes difficult. And I think what you do is you've got to hold on to the ethics, but also the reasons that you joined the job in the first place.
Yeah.
A person does not become a police officer because they think it will be easy.
Yeah.
If a person wants an easy job, they don't need to be a police
They
officer.
can get in comms.
You know, there's all sorts of things they can do. I mean, you know, there's lots of easier jobs. The whole point of becoming a police officer is because you actually do want to make the world a better place. But the thing about it is, making the world a better place, or making the world a safer place, protecting the weak from the oppressor, so to speak, protecting the innocent from the criminals, that is not something that is always pretty to do that, and it's not always easy. It is a fight. You have to be willing to fight for what you believe in. And if you think about this, if somebody joins the military, they're joining the military because they want to defend this country. They're joining the military because they know that someday they might have to fight to protect the country, to protect the people in the country. A police officer is the same. A police officer is saying, I might have to someday fight to protect the citizens.
Yeah.
I might have to someday fight or get hurt to protect the people in the city that I love.
Yeah.
And to protect the people I love.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, you don't become a law enforcement officer because you think it's easy. You become a law enforcement officer because you believe that mission is so important that it is worth taking that risk for. And you believe that purpose is so important that it gives your life that purpose to, like you said, it'd be a calling to do something bigger than yourself and better than yourself.
And that's something I always find like admirable, no matter what. In any situation, you see something in the news, is regardless of, you know, you have all the information about this officer, that officer, and whatever the context is. When I used to work in the news, the one thing I used to have to say to people is, like, at some point, that man or woman in the middle of this made a decision to do that job and to protect us and to pick up that calling. And, you know, whether they had a bad day or, you know, maybe it just didn't look what it is, we have to give them that space, because, you know, we didn't do that. Most of us don't do that. A lot of us we'll do work that's bigger than ourselves, want to do work that's bigger than ourselves, I believe. That's the only way to really kind of make it through life. But that extra step where it's like, I'm going to, for police officers, I'm going to, run towards where all the noise and all the chaos is going instead of away from it, is something is a step further that I think sometimes it's just lost in, in the noise online and everywhere else. But that said, we're always looking for officers. You're always looking for officers.
Of course. In fact, actually, one thing that's really I'm very excited about is the fact that a person could go online and go to joinmgmblue.com and literally on their phone fill out an application for employment to be a police officer. If they're 18 years old, they can fill out an application to be a cadet. And the cool thing about the cadet application means that literally if they're 18 and they pass the background check, I mean, they can get a very steady job with stable benefits, and it pays way better than just about anything else out there for an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And it gives a person a great opportunity because when they become a cadet, they can actually start training and learning how to become a police officer. And they can do that job working at the police department, serving a purpose even then to actually help defend the city.
Yeah.
Because a cadet who's working at the PD frees up a police officer to be on the street. So I'd encourage anybody at that age range to actually think about applying for a job with us, and then go to joinmgmblue.com and fill it out. But also we're looking to hire, people who want to be police officer trainees. So, if somebody's 19 and older and they want to be a police officer and they want to learn how to be a police officer, they can also go to the joinmgmblue.com and fill out a police application. If there's police officers at other agencies thinking about it, one thing I can tell you is if somebody's at another agency, I can tell you we pay a lot more because I know that we not only pay for experience, but we have the college benefits, and we actually recognize, like if somebody has a degree, we recognize that and actually up their pay because of that.
Yeah.
They get the benefits with us for that.
Yeah.
We have an excellent overtime program. I mean, so basically it's a great agency for somebody to laterally transfer into, because they can also fill out an application online, because we actually are doing things with promotions. In fact, we just promoted some officers today. We're doing things with transfers, and we're growing as an agency, so it means that people will have opportunities. And in Montgomery, they're going to have, they're going to have a lot of work to do, because one thing about it is that the type of city that we want to see, the type of safe city we want to see, means that we have to fight for that. And the police department's willing to do that, and we need officers who are willing to fight for what they believe in and do it. So we're excited with the directions things are going.
So with the one of the interesting things I see about the police department is that it really is so pro. Like I did not know that we had so many other agencies from across Alabama, and I guess the U.S. really could, that to send officers to our academy, because we have the people that can do the training. And so this is, I look at it as just, why would you want to, come in, train, and go back out? Why not be with the organization that knows how to do it to the extent that
we train other
PDs are sending their folks over to you.
Right. Well, yeah, we train. Yeah, we do. We train other agencies or other agencies trainees, if you will, police officer trainees, and we're very proud of that. We get to see the quality, because a lot of these other agencies are sending people to us, and they're sending high quality individuals, so they're doing really a good job. And it's a privilege to take them into our academy and train them. Yeah. It really is. And it's a privilege to turn around and send them back out to police their neighborhoods and police their communities. And we're proud of that, because that also shows that we as an agency are having a bigger footprint, not just in the city of Montgomery, but outside of it. Because, we care about the state as well as a whole, and the country as a whole. And so the better officers we can, turn out, then the better off we'll be. And one thing to also talk about when we talk about the Montgomery Police Department and the Academy is, one thing that people probably don't realize is literally how many people come to the Montgomery Police Department, train here, become new officers here, spend a few years working here, and then they go to other agencies.
Yeah.
Then they go to other agencies because they're closer to home, or maybe they get a pay raise.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, the reason they're desirable to those other agencies is because of the training and experience they get here working at the Montgomery Police Department first. So we get people who will come here, work for 4 or 5 years, go to the federal service or go to the state service. And the reason they're marketable to, let's say, a service like that is because of the training and experience that they get at the city of Montgomery. So we actually, there's very few law enforcement agencies probably in the central Alabama area that don't have a sizable portion of people who are either Montgomery Police Department retirees or they have worked and been trained by the Montgomery Police Department at some point or another in their careers. And we're proud of that. So
one of the things I was looking at with the cadet program was this is a kind of a restart of something you had, and those maybe non-policing jobs. So maybe someone that's 18 years old gets in there and they start doing a job at the police department. What do those jobs look like? And I always kind of assume there might be a potential. They're like, oh, you know what? This I actually really like this.
You could
one
have.
gig over another.
We have lots of job opportunities for individuals, even if they are not wanting to be police officers. Okay, we call them professional support staff. And what I mean by professional support staff is those are the people who actually they build the administration of the agency that allows police officers to be actually out there on the streets doing what they do. From records clerks, because we are looking to hire records clerks, which is a real important position, to associate assistants, and we're looking for crime scene analysts. And a lot of those are folks that we look and we train. We also are hiring the cadets who sometimes fill some of those administrative roles. We also look for corrections officers, because corrections officers play an integral part of keeping us safe, because they're the ones who literally are the people who hold on, you could say, to the criminals to keep them off the streets. And we hire corrections officers regularly. And so there are many people, and some I've even forgotten the name, I think, but there are many people who literally take the opportunity to serve the public and serve the city, and their roles are just as important as the officers, because they free up officers and they serve these integral things that keep the department running. And they can fill out applications as well to get job opportunities at the police department, and they still have the same benefits as the police officers from the point of view that they get a stable pension plan, health insurance, family health insurance. There's academic benefits and educational incentives. So they have a lot going for them. And I'd say the pay for our professional support staff is competitive with anybody. Because like I said, there's a lot. We are definitely wanting to hire as many professional support staff as we can. So, of course, I would recommend that when people go to joinmgmblue.com, they look for a link. If they're not wanting to be a police officer, or let's say they become a cadet and then instead of becoming a cop, they decide they want to be let's say a records clerk, or they want to be in property, or they want to be an analyst, or they want to be in corrections. Well, what they need to do is they would click on the link that says professional staff opportunities, and then when they go to that page, fill out applications for those professional staff positions. But we do have openings there in professional staff, and we do want to, I'll be candid in saying I want to hire as many people as possible.
Very good. And then I think my last real questions, and we can go down this road probably for a little while, is the future of MPD. Kind of what's your vision? Like, I think that it probably looks different 5 years and 10 years and 20 years. Like, what do you want to see this look like in I guess the next 10 years or so?
Oh wow, 10 years. In the next 10 years, what I want to see is, I want to see policing in the city at such an efficient rate that not only are all calls responded to within, let's say, minutes, and I say minutes like, under 3 minutes, let's say, or something really fast, but to have a literal, almost visible presence almost on every street corner, not just with what you see now, but even more so than we are now. Something where we grow as an agency, not only in our capabilities, but we see an expansion of our technological capabilities. Like, one thing we've just recently started is we started a drone unit where we purchased 4 brand new drones, and they are beautiful. They are great. So I literally am envisioning a situation where literally I get so many drones available and so many drone pilots available in addition to my officers that we literally are having drones very, very much not only being visible in the city, but also actually assisting us in locating suspects, in monitoring traffic, in following, let's say, a vehicle we need to follow, or being able to monitor situations as they arise, or sometimes even send control and emergency notifications, because drones, as we utilize this technology, will actually have an ability to, in a sense, be an air support unit for us. And one thing we have found, especially over the last year when we even just utilizing the air assets from the state, is having that airborne component for for visuals was incredibly effective in us actually getting the bad guys and putting them in jail. So we really want to see something along the lines where the drone responses become even more integral to what we're doing. At the same time, seeing us being able to enforce the law not only in a more efficient way, but also in a way that engenders the most public confidence possible and understanding possible that we really are out there for the public. We are out there for the people of the city, and everything we do is for the benefit of the people of the city. So I think there's going to be a lot of different components, because I think we're on the right track, but what we have to do is we have to consistently follow our path till with no let up until we get to that place where we literally are a larger and faster agency that is that's much more efficient and that is meeting the needs of all of our citizens. That's really where we want to go, because at the end of the day, the true test of the agency's success is going to be how well are we meeting the needs of the citizens of the city. If we're meeting the needs well, then that's success. If we're not, that's a problem.
So let me ask you, we talk about the future, and I had a conversation with somebody just the other day about kind of keeping your eye on the horizon and how important it is to me to be doing things that I know are going to outlive me, that can outlive me, not so people remember my name, just it's like the whole planting a tree. Nobody's going to remember you planted a tree, but that you've set something in motion for the future. Like, how does that feel? Like,
I feel the same way. I mean, let me put it this way: if I could wave a magic wand and say everybody forgot my name, but if I knew that by doing that it would succeed in doing everything I want accomplished, I would do that. Because what I care about is the city being safe. What I care about is the police department being stable, effective, efficient, and meeting its promise, meeting its capabilities, but meeting its promise, being the department that I know it can be. So what I have been doing and endeavoring over the time I've been here is to create internal mechanisms, if you will, to keep kind of some of this going. So that way, even after I'm gone, that some systems will still be in place. For example, when we reinstituted the cadet program, we also were reinstituting the early hire program. Those are both programs that, even if I'm not there, as long as the city and the police department keep utilizing them, then those are going to ensure that we meet the manpower needs we have. Those are going to ensure that we actually get quality people to become police officers or become members of our agency. So the administrative mechanisms that we're putting into place for hiring, that's going to help, you could say, create a legacy. The administrative mechanisms that we've put in also to restart promotions, that means that we're going to be having promotions, and we're going to be having promotional tests every 2 years. Well, then that actually lets people know, hey, we're always going to have opportunity if we apply for a job.
There's a career ladder.
There's a career ladder, and it's in place, right? So the thing about it is, by creating all of these mechanisms, even long after I'm gone, as long as the agency keeps practicing these things, then you've created something that can, be sustained and live long beyond you. And I'm really pleased with that, because we've created these things. The officers and the employees of the agency and the professional staff of the agency have bought into them. So they want to, if they buy into something like that, then they want to keep perpetuating it. And success breeds even more success, because as they see that this stuff is effective, then they want to keep it going. And so that way you can be constantly growing and constantly getting better. So really everything I'm trying to do, and I've been trying to do over the last year, was to create like I said, these mechanisms in place, and also some of these mechanisms aren't just related to getting employees. Some of the mechanisms we've been putting into place are directly related to how we're policing the city. And what I mean by that is we've started changing some things related to our saturation details, related to our checkpoint details, related to robbery details that we're doing, or the exhibition driving details. All of those things right there, okay, they not only have an impact on the crime because we're seeing the numbers dropping like we're seeing, they're having an impact on the officers because when the officers see how successful these tactics and strategies are, they want to keep perpetrating them. They want to keep pursuing them, and they want to keep being even more effective. And because when they can see with their own eyes that, hey, I got a robbery yesterday, or I prevented a robbery, or I prevented somebody from being hurt. Well, that breeds excitement in the officer because the officer wants to keep doing that because it's something that, that's the reason we're here. That's our purpose for being here. So the thing about it is the mechanisms that we've been creating, and strengthening, all of those things, I want them to be strong enough to last beyond me. But then it also goes back to your whole recruiting thing. So that means that, hey, I want to recruit people who will buy into it and then keep pursuing it after I'm gone. Because, someday I am going to have to retire or... and I want to know that there's people behind me who are going to be following up with that same mission. So, if they can forget my name, but if they don't forget my work, I'll be glad with that.
I feel like it kind of having that ability to do that is helps kind of cloud out negativity. In your case, probably I would think that you probably see a lot more negativity, not necessarily directly towards you, but maybe towards the police department, online, and sometimes it's the negativity is impatience, people that feel like they want to see the police department in some place or going in some direction, or some people just don't like police for whatever reason.
Well, you do see negativity. It's unfortunate, and that's been an ongoing thing in my whole career. I remember seeing negativity in 1991.
Well, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not, and it's never going to go away. But the thing about it is that what you have to do is you don't dwell on the negativity. Because if you do that, it will put you down kind of behind the curve, and you won't get done what you want to get done. I find that what you do is there's a lot of people out there who support us. And there's a lot of people out there who care about the police department. They care about the officers. They say, like, very often they'll go like, "Thank you for your service." And when people say that, they don't, a lot of times they don't realize how much that actually means to the officer. Because it lets the officer know that, there are people out there that he's defending, and he knows that. It reminds that officer of the purpose of why he's here, and that there are people here who are behind him. Because it can feel real lonely if all you ever get is negative stuff. But the thing about it is
is it that if you get, or is that if you kind of just tune into it? Because
you got to tune into it.
You kind of have to crowd out. I feel like you have to crowd out the negative with like putting something positive in motion.
Well, the negative stuff, you gotta be aware of it, because sometimes there's something behind that
not
too.
Ignoring it.
Because you've got to be aware of the negative stuff.
There could be truth in that, right?
Right.
Sometimes
there could be.
Somebody can say something that you might not want to hear.
You might not want to hear, but you need to hear it because it's something
true.
because it helps you focus. But the thing you got to be able to do is you got to be able to objectively take the good and the bad. And then you've got to be able to be a little bit above that, where you go, okay, there's something to, let's say, this negative thing, and maybe I'm going to pursue that, because that way it lets you, hopefully solve a situation that needs to be solved.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you also got to be able to take in the good with it too, because when you get the good, that also lets you know, hey, what I'm doing is appreciated, and these are the people I'm defending. But you're also defending the people who might not like you. And so it's worth to be able to know all the sides of the argument, so you can basically move forward to be effective. But then that's also why part of it is paying attention to the public like that. But then the other part is you also have to dig deep in your heart and say, why am I here? Because you have to be able to be willing to make the sacrifices and pursue that mission for the people who love you, but also for the people who don't love you.
Exactly right.
Because that's the whole point of being a police officer, is to be a defender of society, you could say, or a defender of all people, a defender of all citizens. And that means that some are going to like you, some are not. But the key thing is you don't let the negative emotions overrule your ability to see what needs to be done and going and doing it. And that's, I think, that's how I deal with things, and that's how I try to communicate that message to my people. A lot of them have learned that lesson on their own. But it's something that I always try to reinforce. And you reinforce it with a positive working environment as much as you can. When you're dealing and when you're meeting with the folks you work with, your colleagues, you let them know how you feel. You let them know what you think, both good and bad. Because the thing about it is sometimes people need constructive criticism, and other times they need to know that you appreciate them. And I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate the men and women who work in my agency, because I see them every day. I see what they're doing. I've been out with them. I see the sacrifices they're making, and it moves me in a way that goes way beyond my ability to express it.
Very good. Do you have anything else you want to make sure you wanted to chat about?
I could probably think of a couple things. If we wanted to add this in, I mean, it depends how controversial we want to get. One thing I can tell you is I would love to see something along the lines of somehow finding ways to ensure that people who are locked up for violent felonies are not being let out. Now, I know when I say that, people will often tell me, oh, well, we have Ania's law, which is great.
Yeah.
But that discretion is only good if judges use that discretion to hold people.
Yeah.
So I'd like there to be some kind of conversation at some point to where more of the violent criminals that we are arresting are being held till trial.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you flat out that if that was happening,
you
would see a huge impact on the crime rates, even beyond the success we're having now.
I think it's a wild thing to have to deal with when it comes to.
Yeah.
I love the fact that our Constitution, guarantees that we're innocent until proven guilty, and I do love the fact that we have the ability to be accused of a thing and to defend ourselves and to get out of jail. But I know, and you've seen the evidence, and I've even seen, you'll see things go viral. You'll see a guy actually. And I'm not talking about any situation here in Montgomery, but you'll see a guy on camera from some recording, or a girl, but usually guys, like shoot somebody. And you'll see it on camera. And then they'll go through the whole process, and even the legal process is for them as much as it is for anybody else. But it's so hard to try them in the public eye, but also protect their rights. And
nobody should be tried in the public eye like that. I mean, people are all entitled to, a fair trial.
Yeah.
Okay. And I am always going to be a proponent of that.
Yeah.
And not shortcutting it at all.
Yeah.
But what I am is realistic from the point of view that my people have arrested too many suspects.
Yeah.
Who were out on bond for other violent felonies where they had hurt somebody else.
It is wild to me that it seems like they go in and it's like they're the good kid.
And so the thing about it is that when somebody is arrested for violent felonies, I think that's one of the reasons why you, like I said, had the Ania's law.
Yeah.
But then I think what you also have to have is you have to have people who are willing to execute the discretion to utilize that to say, hey, if a person is arrested for certain felonies, not all felonies, but if a person is arrested for certain violent felonies that person constitute a threat to the public, that we have a right to say, okay, well, we are going to hold you, or we're going to give you a higher bond until it's time for your trial.
Yeah.
And I think that's only fair. So the thing about it is that seeing that discretion get utilized more in the future is something I'd like to see happen.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have concerns with directly relates to the open carry. And what I mean by this is the state used to have an open carry law that I had no issues with, which was basically allowing for open carry.
Yeah.
Alabama has been an open carry state, I think, as long as I've been in law enforcement. What bothers me is that when the concealed carry requirements got done away with, that really harmed law enforcement's ability to go after people who were wanting to conceal weapons for criminal purposes.
Yeah.
And it meant that basically people who want to conceal weapons for criminal purposes are literally not breaking the law until they start committing those criminal purposes, you could state. So now all of a sudden it gives the police a lot less time to either head things off or to hold people accountable when they do it. So I would really like to see something that would change that element here, because technically there's absolutely no controls or restraints right now, and it's almost like as if we had all of our traffic lights and
Yeah.
stop signs removed tomorrow, so there's no restraints on people's driving,
Yeah.
there would be even more carnage out there on the roadways than there is
Yeah.
now, because there's no restraints. There's no stop signs to tell
Yeah.
people, hey, don't go right now. And,
Yeah.
because people will be hitting each other all the time at traffic intersections. If there are no speed limits, then people be driving 150 miles and they're not doing anything wrong until they impact on something. Well, unfortunately, the way things are right now with our carry laws in the state, it's completely unrestricted in such a way that it is dangerous. And I think that there needs to be some level of rules of the road, and I don't think it's infringement to say that you're going to have some requirements, because owning a weapon, a handgun or any kind of firearm, is a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And a person has to respect that level of responsibility that they hold. And I'd say it should be a level of liability for the person who holds it, just like if you own an automobile or anything else. You have to have a certain level of that. And so I would really like to see something related to someday putting the concealed carry requirements back into effect, like what we used to have prior to 3 years ago. Because if you look at it, if you look at the way things jumped in urban areas, okay, over the last 3 years. Now, we are, like I said, we're seeing success. We're bringing some things down. We're putting people in jail, which is great. But things jumped when that concealed carry restriction was lifted.
Yeah.
Because now it made it a lot harder to actually head things off.
Yeah.
Now we're getting better at heading things off now, coming with that experience, but what kind of price was paid to get to where we are?
Yeah.
And what kind of price are we going to continue to pay to get to where we need to be?
Yeah.
So I would love to see something done. I think there needs to be some more efforts to be made to make there be rules of the road when it comes to firearm ownership and firearm handling, if you will.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll definitely have you back and
Right.
talk about different things. Go down the road. Maybe we can talk about some, Chief Graboys on off time.
Sure.
What that looks like. Cause
I don't get off time.
Yeah, it's 24/7 job.
I mean, that's the thing. When I took that vacation, it was nice because literally that was the first time that I was like in more than a year that I was able to really just relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But to me, it's worth it because, like I said, I care about the city, care about the department.
Yeah.
And I'll keep plugging away at it until I can anymore.
Very good. Well, appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Go.